Modern Warfare 2 is a really good game with great gameplay mechanics. The world graphics, the weapon modeling, audio design, and gunplay as a whole are a step above Modern Warfare 2019, which were already quite good. In most aspects of the gameplay, Modern Warfare 2 took what made Modern Warfare 2019 great, and it was evolved naturally. The big problem is that the user interface, or UI, hinders the gameplay whenever possible. It's too busy, too complicated, and just plain counterintuitive to the game. They decided to reinvent the wheel with the UI instead of taking the same natural evolution approach that they took with the gameplay. The barrier to entry in the game is higher than it's ever been, despite its gameplay being better than ever. With the gameplay, there are several noticeable adjustments that clearly cater to a newcomer of the series by lowering the barrier to entry. Casual players can do very well in the game with this evolution of the formula. Footsteps are very loud, which favors getting easy kills by sitting in corners. The new perk package system is designed to make perks feel less important, which makes the game more accessible to a player that doesn't want to have to consider trade-offs in perk categories. The problem is that while the gameplay has become more friendly to a serious newcomer, the UI design is friendly to nobody. This is because while the gameplay has taken the natural evolution approach, the UI design tried to reinvent the wheel for no reason through poor design, and thus it raised the barrier to entry for everyone. The most noticeable, and by far the worst change to Modern Warfare 2's UI, is that most of the menus have opted for a horizontal layout rather than a standard vertical list. The information is presented as large boxes with pictures or icons. Because of this design, less information can be shown at a time. With game modes, we can see 3 at a time. With loadouts, we see 6 at a time. It's very counterintuitive, and it makes looking for anything at a glance take a lot longer. Game modes, weapons, or cosmetic items take so much longer than they did in previous games. My concept with the lobby takes the approach of natural evolution in UI design. First and foremost, I will always opt for a drop-down vertical list format. It's a lot more intuitive, it makes sense. On the left side of the screen, we have our game modes. The challenges box has been moved to the right-hand side of the screen in order to communicate visual hierarchy. The middle shows you, the player. On either side, we have supporting information on what the player can do. On the left, we scroll through the games we want to play. On the right, we see supporting information. The goals we can complete in the game, the message of the day, and our XP tokens, and our countdown. This really isn't, nor does it claim to be a totally original idea. The fact is, though, it's very intuitive. During the most popular time in gaming, March 2020, everyone I know played Warzone, and they got familiar with the game. Over 125 million people have played Warzone. Utilizing a refined version of its lobby UI lowers the barrier to entry, and puts key information where millions of players already expect it to be. Speaking of Warzone's success and huge player base, let's talk about the social tab. During the last 2 years of Warzone, I've made a lot of friends. Everyone knows Call of Duty is a friend-oriented game. Everything's more fun with a buddy to play with. In fact, Call of Duty knows just how valuable teammates are. One of Modern Warfare 2's taglines is, "The ultimate weapon is team." The problem with that, though, is that I can't figure out how to play with my team. Modern Warfare 2's social tab is very poorly laid out. It's kind of inexplicable. I want to join my friend Paul's game. To do that, I press R3 like the UI tells me to. There, I'm greeted with names I've never even heard of. They're definitely not my friend Paul. This is the social hub, a totally unnecessary menu that shows me players I'm not familiar with. After a little while of digging, I realized that there's a separate friends tab. Here, we get to scroll through, again, 4 big boxes that only show 4 of my 67 friends at a time. it's gonna take a while to find my friend Paul. Here's my concept. Let's scrap the hub entirely. It's pointless, it doesn't make sense. My social tab shouldn't go straight to totally foreign names. Very rarely do I care about players I've been in a game with. Instead, the social tab will show our friends first and foremost. Like the lobby, key information moves from left to right, establishing visual hierarchy. In the middle, we see the player we're currently selected on. It's my friend Paul. On the right, we have supporting information about Paul. Wow, he's level 200 already? He really must be enjoying his new PC. Below that, we can see that Paul's still in the game of Battle Royale, so I've got a minute to wait. At the bottom, we can see the usernames of the players he's partied with. So if I'm not feeling like playing with donkey brains tonight, I don't have to. With this new concept, the ultimate weapon truly is team. The loadout menu in this game is just plain difficult to use. Like the game modes and the friends list, we can only view a certain amount of loadouts at one time, as opposed to seeing the full list. Did I make my ghost loadout? Well, maybe, but I have to add 10 seconds to find out. Most of the people I play with hop between a bunch of different loadouts. Sometimes we go between using baby monitors and stims. Sometimes we want to change our primary gun to a new one across the board. With this horizontal layout, all of that takes a lot longer because we have to scroll through 6 at a time, as opposed to seeing the names of every one of our loadouts at once. To change that, I've taken the graphic style of Modern Warfare 2's current system and brought it back in line with the traditional vertical layout. This means it's much easier to see at a glance what I'm running on each of my classes individually. It's a minimal redesign, but it makes a world of difference functionally. No one can deny that Infinity Ward's ambition with their game is very impressive. Within a month of Modern Warfare 2 being out, we now have a campaign, multiplayer, Spec Ops, DMZ, and of course their favorite cash cow, Warzone 2. I play a lot of Warzone. I can usually tell pretty quickly when I'm not gonna like something. This time around, the map is solid, it's beautiful. There are a couple of gameplay changes that are a little more questionable. I'm looking at you, AI and backpack system. However, these sort of big picture ideas are going to take me more time to tell if they're inherently good or bad changes. One thing we can all agree on though, is that the UI and the HUD are a major step back from its previous state in Warzone 1. I think this was done in order to make Warzone 2 feel different from Warzone 1's final state. I get that their bottom line is to demonstrate how Warzone 2 is a totally new game, but the HUD as it stands is a major step back. Here's how we can change that. Let's bring back the player HUD from its previous state. It worked perfectly. It should properly show all of my information. My plates, gas mask, field upgrade, and my self-revive. Likewise for my teammates. It removes the unnecessary complication of having to ask if my teammate has a gas mask or a kill streak on them. To take it a step further, we could be able to see our teammates' backpacks so that we can view everything they have to offer to the team. This would solve a lot of the huge problems about the HUD and the new looting system as a whole. Additionally, the pinging system is a major step back from Warzone 1. The pinging sound is a lot worse, it's quieter and it's more unclear as a whole when teammates are pinging. The pings in-game are literally white, so there's almost no contrast. Here's a quick idea. Let's make this more similar to Warzone 1. Bright ping colors, based on your assigned player color. Here's another idea. Let's have the option to choose our player color, so my squad will always know who's the orange player and who's the blue player. Hot take. I'm not totally against the 2v2 gulag, if done right. I'll admit, it's actually been really fun to come together with an enemy and take on the other enemy team. My main issue with it though, is that it's really unclear to me who's winning in the gulag. This wouldn't be a huge issue in a casual game mode like Gunfight, but in the gulag, it's fast action that can dictate the entire outcome of my match, since regaining is a lot harder in this mode. To simplify things, there should be 2 health bars at the top, instead of all 4 of our names. Just like Gunfight from Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops Cold War. In this fast-paced gameplay, I should see if I'm the sole fighter very quickly. As it stands, all 4 Gulag contestants are shown at the top. When one of us dies, the name is crossed out in a blood effect. It's super hard to tell at a glance. This change would help a lot. Additionally, I don't like how my Gulag teammates' health bar isn't shown. We have an alliance together right now. We're on the same team. When you're in your Gulag match, the player HUD should be replaced with your alliance mate. This makes our odds a lot more clear when timing and speed is everything. I could go on about the looting system all day, but I'm sure it's going to get ironed out in time. The community obviously isn't responding very positively towards the looting changes. One easy change that would help me a lot though, is the ground loot information box becoming clearer, just by changing the font and some of the colors. In Warzone 1, it's very easy to see what I'm highlighted on at a glance. In Warzone 2, the colors don't have very much contrast, and the font is a slim, uppercase sans serif title font. It takes a minute to read when I'm hovered over. When fast looting is key, I need to be able to read what gun I'm about to pick up very quickly. Finally, I can't stand the scoreboard being tied to the minimap and having to scroll over to the right. Maybe instead, we could bring it back to how it was in Warzone 1? I like to look at my kills very quickly, and adding the extra step of having to open the TAC map and scroll seems like a very unnecessary change. I could go on for hours about Warzone 2 fundamental changes, and will likely make a follow-up regarding DMZ. But, at minimum, these changes would make the quality of life in Warzone 2 a lot better. Here's a quick list of other changes I'd like to see made. The button mapping on a lot of the menus was changed for really no reason. Entering the social menu used to be done with triangle for me, now it's done using R3. They changed my muscle memory for really no reason. The quick menu seems really thoughtlessly designed. I really hope some revisions could be made. At minimum, I'd like to be able to see party members and my game status pinned to the dashboard as soon as I open the menu. At most, I'd like the ability to pin any feature I want onto the quick menu. Challenge progress, weapon levels, etc. The party tab should be placed back on the primary nav bar, as it shouldn't have been removed in the first place. It very easily lets you see who's in your party, as opposed to the current guessing game we have right now. Camo unlock challenges being changed into a trophy icon with no real information is just ridiculous. Here's the design of that change that I made in less than 2 minutes. Your move, Infinity Ward. Also, why did they remove your streak counter from the game? If I'm going on a long kill streak, I want to see every kill I reach, not just in intervals of 5. Here's another 2-minute concept that should be displayed each and every kill I get. Easy change. The customization menu was finally added in Season 1, but its horizontal layout is painfully bad. Here's what it could look like instead. And here's how it could look to edit your emblem. Lightning round! Here are a couple of annoying text alignment issues I found. None of them are a really big deal, but they're pretty annoying. Hopefully if this video can get some reach, Infinity Ward can take action on some of these. Moving on, the calling card challenge menu is really bad. Hopefully they can totally redo this menu. The vehicle customization menu is painful, especially when editing war tracks. The firing range is a very cool new addition, but it doesn't have any customization options or detailed stats. Hopefully they'll roll out some updates in the future. The camo UI design is really bad. Some other designers have made concepts better than anything I could do. I just really hope Infinity Ward reconsiders this design. Finally, I think player channels are a very cool addition to the game. That is, if you know what they are. They should have included a tutorial, or just any description to tell you what they are, because I had no idea until I had to experiment on my own quite a bit. From my understanding, they're basically voice channels. This way, if my friend and I want to talk without playing the same game mode, we can. This lack of instruction very much hinders the experience of the UI, and keeps a lot of very cool additions totally in the dark for new players. I can't even imagine how the game comes across to a series newcomer. If I'm totally confused, and I design websites and UI design, and I'm an experienced player of the series, I can't imagine how high the barrier to entry is for a person that's never played a Call of Duty game before. After 3 years of development, Modern Warfare 2 is one step forward and 2 steps back. Not because of the gameplay necessarily, but because of the UI design. If the new UI was more intuitive than the last, I'd be all game. As video game UI has evolved, it's clear that we're now in the streaming service design age, which is frequently to the detriment of Modern Warfare 2's fantastic gameplay. I'm sure everyone watching this video has heard that the previous UX director at Hulu played a big role in the artistic vision for Modern Warfare 2's UI design. I understand what they're going for. They're trying to seamlessly integrate their mainline game with the upcoming Warzone mobile release. But it just isn't working, especially for this game, which has been branded as the next generation of Call of Duty, and the first of its kind to have a multi-year life cycle. For many years, we've heard people complaining that the menus look the same as the last game. I don't think that's a problem. The menus should be familiar and intuitive. They should lower the barrier to entry. This game's offerings have mass appeal. There's something for everyone to like. Prisoner Rescue is Infinity Ward's take on Rainbow Six Siege. Ground War and Invasion appeal to Battlefield players, and even Warzone 2 and its third-person mode will compete with Fortnite and PUBG. With this diverse game selection, the barrier to entry should be at an all-time low, but it isn't. If experienced players of the series have 1,000 questions on missing or hidden features, then the casual player base is surely confused on how the game works. The barrier to entry in this game is very big. I hope the rumored UI overhaul can bring even half of what I've brought up today. If Modern Warfare 2 and the new COD HQ want to thrive in a 2-year life cycle, changes will have to be made. For now though, I guess we'll just have to be patient with our horizontal scrolling simulator. I'm Harrison, and thank you for watching.